revolution. We'll be the nation that leads the global economy. And as I said last night, other countries aren't waiting. They want those jobs. China wants those jobs. Germany wants those jobs. They are going after them hard, making the investments required. We're not going to stop fighting to give every American a fair shake. The first bill I signed into law was making sure that there was equal pay for equal work for women, the Lilly Ledbetter Act, because I think you should be paid the same for doing the same work. That's just fair. And by the way, men, you should have been standing up clapping for that because most families today are depending on 2 paychecks, not 1, to get by. We're not going to stop fighting to protect the American consumer. That's why I signed a credit card Bill of Rights into law to protect you from surprise charges and retroactive rate hikes and other unfair rules. That's why I'm fighting for a tough consumer financial protection agency to protect you against things like hidden fees that can make an ATM withdrawal cost $30. I just want to be clear here for the benefit of my friends in the back. We need a strong financial sector. Without it, businesses can't get capital to grow and create jobs. Families can't finance a home loan or education. So we want a healthy financial sector. And there are folks all across the country working in banks who are doing great service to their community. But we also need some rules of the road for Wall Street so that reckless decisions made by a few don't take our economy over the side. That's common sense. There's nothing radical about that. In fact, the banks should want it because it would create greater stability in the system. And yes, we will not stop fighting for a health care system that works for the American people, not just for the insurance industry. We won't stop. We want a system where you can't be denied care if you have a pre-existing condition. You can't get thrown off your insurance right at the time when you get seriously ill. We want a system where small businesses can get insurance at a price they can afford. Nobody pays more than small businesses and individuals who are self-employed in the insurance market because they've got no leverage. We want to change that by allowing them to be able to set up a pool. We want to make sure that people who don't have coverage can find an affordable choice in a competitive marketplace. We want a system in which seniors don't have these huge gaps in their Medicare prescription drug coverage, and where Medicare itself is on a sounder financial footing. Those are the things that we're fighting for. And I'm not going to stop on that because it's the right thing to do. And by the way, if you are serious about reducing our deficit and debt, you cannot accomplish it without reforming our health care system because that's what's gobbling up more federal dollars than anything else. I don't understand folks who say they don't want to see government spending out of control and then are fighting reforms that the Congressional Budget Office says would cut $1 trillion off our deficit over the next 2 decades. Those aren't my numbers. Now, we're never going to stop fighting to cut waste and abuse in Washington. We do have to rein in deficits that have been accumulating for too long. Families across the country are tightening their belts and making tough decisions. It's time for the federal government to do the same. And that's why I proposed specific steps last night to bring the deficit down. And I'm grateful that the Senate just passed, as we were flying down here to Florida, a rule called pay-as-you-go, or pay-go. That was a big reason we had record surpluses in the 1990s instead of the record deficits that were handed to me when I walked into office. Look, it's a very simple concept, this pay-go. It basically just says, you got to pay as you go. It's sort of how you live. At least after you cut off those credit cards. It basically says, you want to start a new program? Start a new program. But you've got to end an old one that pays for it. If you want to cut taxes, great, cut taxes, but you got to figure out how to fill the revenue that results when you lose that tax revenue. So the idea is just honest accounting. That's what's needed. Let me say one more word about health care. I'm gnawing on this bone a little bit. I know that the longer the process worked through on a complicated issue like this, the uglier it looked. You know, and it doesn't help when you've got the insurance industry spending several $100 million advertising against it, but after a while, people didn't know what to think. And you start asking yourselves, what's in it for me? And as I said last night, I take my share of the blame for not explaining our approach more clearly, but this problem's not going to go away. The tough stories I read in letters at night, they're not stopping. I'm not going to walk away from these efforts. And I won't walk away from you. And I don't think Congress should walk away either. We are going to keep working to get this done, and I hope we can get some Republicans to join Democrats in understanding the urgency of the problem. On every one of these issues, my door remains open to good ideas from both parties. I want the Republicans off the sidelines. I want them working with us to solve problems facing working families. Not to score points. I want a partnership. What we can't do, though, here's what I'm not open to. I don't want gridlock on issue after issue after issue when there's so many urgent problems to solve. And I don't want an attitude, if Obama loses, then we win. I mean, that can't be a platform. Even if you disagree with me on some specific issues, all of us should be rooting for each other. All of us should be rooting for America moving forward and solving problems. So that, you lose, I win mentality, that mindset may be good for short-term politics, but it's not a mindset that's equal to these times. It's not worthy of you. What you deserve is for all of us, Democrats and Republicans, to work through our differences, overcome our politics, do what is hard, do what is necessary to advance the American dream and keep it alive for our time and for all time. We have come through a tough year and a tough decade, but a new year is here and a new decade is stretching before us. Opportunities are there for the taking. Every business owner working on the innovation of tomorrow, every student reaching for a better future, everyone ready to roll up their sleeves and play their part in rebuilding America. Yes, we can. We don't back down. We don't quit. We are Americans. And today, here with all of you, I have never been more hopeful about our future than I am right now. I am confident that we can make this happen and move this country forward. Thank you very much, Tampa. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I've got Everybody relax again. Everybody relax. I've got time for a few questions. I'm going to take off my jacket here just because... Joe, you're going to hold my coat? You know,
You answer all the tough questions. I'll hold the coat.
Yeah, I know there may be some tough questions here. So, all right, here are the only rules to this. I'm going to try to get in about 5-6 questions. I will. So I'm not going to be able to get to everybody. I apologize in advance. To make sure that it's fair, we're going to go girl, boy, girl, boy. All right, so I'm going to call on a young lady first, and then I'm going to call on a gentleman, and we're just going to keep on going down the line, and we'll get